Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool arcade game repair video for you today. We're going to film the most frustrating video of all time. So here in our shop, we have this Time Crisis 3, or better known as Time Crisis 3. I think it says something like that whenever you start it. Time Crisis number 3, something like that. We got this traded in off of a gentleman that we sold a couple games to, and he traded this in. It's a super cool game. Now, if you're familiar with it, you know that there's usually a second side, and then there's a big sign on the top. But they will work as standalone units if you rewire the AC a little bit. But so we've got it up and running, so that's good, right? But it has a problem. So here's the problem. It has a Gardner D9200 in it. Now, those of you who know about arcade games, you know what the problem is. I just told you, it's a Gardner D9200. This is about the most complex monitor ever, for several reasons. And the freaking thing's acting up, so it ain't working right. So we can't sell it like this, obviously, because it doesn't work right. And even if it halfway worked, we couldn't sell it because it's just going to die on somebody. So I'm going to make this video about attempting to fix one, two, who knows how many Gardner D9200s. Now, why would I put it that way? It's because we get these in all the time, and a lot of times Joey works on the arcade games, and he has sworn these damn D9200s off. He don't like them. He don't want to work on them. Because they're just a problem. So we've got several of them that we could potentially fix that we messed around with a little bit, but we never got really in depth on them. So in this video, we're going to attempt to get one up and running nice and reliable in this machine. So I'm going to show you what it does first. Time Crisis 3 runs off of a Namco setup, a Sony setup, whatever. It's Namco, but that basically is very similar to a PS2. It's essentially a PS2. And it's a great game, really cool game. And this monitor actually works. But the ridiculous thing about this monitor is that it's a tri-sync monitor, which I wish they would have never done. Why in the world they did that? I mean, I guess they did it to save money on only having one model of monitor, but it's so freaking complex because it has to do 3 different frequencies that it's just a nightmare to work on. It's like having 3 monitors in one, not quite, because there's only one power supply and all that, but it's just complex. So this board puts out a CGA signal, low resolution. It also will do EGA and VGA, and it's really not even tri-sync. It's more like 6 different resolutions or something like that. It can do a bunch of resolutions. So I'm sure we'll get into that because I'll have to show you the schematics and everything. But let me show you what it's doing. Let me get some power on it and you can see what the issue is. So I plugged up the power. Here we go. Here you go. You ready? Sounds great, right? Okay, a couple little ticks. All right. Oh, look, we're up. No signal. Oh, what was that? A little bit of a snap there. So the game is booting. Let me turn off the lights so you can see it a little better. You hear it? So it has now decided that it is in CGA. And it's going to show you some stuff. So it's the PS2 is working. Listen to the chatter on this thing. You hear that? I'm sure you do. All right. So it's all good. I was about to lean on the cabinet. I'm not going to because I know what's coming. Now, don't worry about the colors being misadjusted. Obviously, the green's low and everything else is high. Okay. Now, you see there's a little bit... Now, the distortion there is part of the gameplay. You hear how loud it is. It's coming. Keep waiting. This is the type of stuff we have to try to figure out. This is why sometimes our videos take forever to come out. Then people will say, well, why aren't you working on that one? It's because we ran into something like this. So they're showing you the game. Everything's cool. It's the original CRT. And like I said, we can adjust it, make it look a little better. This has been sitting here for about 24 hours without being turned on. You see how you see a little bit of like static jump up? That may be part of the video, but I don't think it is. I'm just showing you the track mode doing its thing. What's it been? Probably a minute and a half now, something like that. You hear how loud it is. That's way too loud compared to most monitors. But from what I understand, all of the D9200s always sound like that. Oh, and another thing, on this, the monitor is actually exposed. Yeah, see the little bit of crackly, see whenever I touched it, the little bit of static that we got? Oh, look at the people signing their names. Look, folks, I didn't do that. Let me get that out of the shot. Those immature children. Probably immature adults, really, if we're serious. Alright, they're showing you the cool gameplay. Basically, you know, this is the awesome cabinet with the pedal. It's got neon on the front. I'll probably edit some of this out. Oh, did you see it move a little bit? See how the image shifted slightly? What the world? What was that? So that's enough that you can't sell it, right? Oh no, not twice. So here in our back room, we've got some of these we've been hoarding, like I said. So all these boxes are full of chassis. So I'm gonna, like I said, we've just been kind of saving them and kind of putting them to the side and not working on them. So I'm gonna pull out a couple that look kind of complete. I think we've got about 10 of them. And just see if we can work through it a little bit and see if we can figure anything else out. I also have an extra tube right here. I don't remember what we took this out of. We took this out of something. And that's the deal. So we've got extra tubes, which means we have extra yokes. We've got extra chassis. I've got parts for the chassis. I've got parts chassis. Surely we can get one D9200 working out of all of these. So what I'm going to do is, today is Wednesday. I'm going to work on it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll take Sunday off, and I'm going to work on it Monday. So I'm going to work on it 5 days. Is that 5 days? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Monday. And then I'm going to put this video out Tuesday. And we'll see what all I can get done in 5 days. Now, I can't work the whole day on it, but I'm going to work on it when I can. So I'm going to get out the chassis and see if we can find our next candidate. Because I need to at least tag them, mark what's wrong with them, something. So we can at least try to work through some of them. So this is our first candidate. It's a very nice, beautiful, complete one. The cable that's missing here goes to the video connector board, so that's no big deal. The flyback looks all right. Who knows? I have an extra tested flyback. I think it's had a cap kit. Yeah, it's had a cap kit. You can tell because this is like glue that's used to glue the caps down, and notice it's not on the actual cap because that's a newer cap than the board. I've seen a lot of stuff online where people are saying that these are that they use cheap caps when they made these, and I've heard a lot of people say that, but I don't know if that's true. I don't necessarily believe everything I see people say online. I think a lot of stuff is old tech tales. Old text tales. I'm just saying that so I don't insult old wives. It's very similar to an old wives' tale, but I don't say that because that's sexist. So this one is actually marked. So apparently we've been messing with it forever. I'm looking to see if anything's missing. I don't see anything that's missing. Or maybe this is what plugs into the neck board. I don't know. We'll figure it all out. All right, and so this one has a label on it. Remember I said that Joey will never try to fix these. He just throws them to the side. Chirping, hot, good, 8219. So he gave up on this one, and then he initialed it RL, which must be a nickname of his or something. Whoever that RL is. But apparently the hot is good. I assume that's the hot. And 6 years ago, the problem we had was that it was chirping. So what that means is whenever the monitor comes up, instead of booting, it's going, oh, something's not right, and shutting back down. Over and over and over again. And so every time it shuts down, you hear like a squeal, and it goes chit, 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 chit. Some of them do it at a different speed. It just depends on how quick they boot up. So this is a chirper. But usually that's kind of easy to fix. Well, I shouldn't say easy. Oh, I messed up there. Usually that's at least possible to fix because it means that there's a short somewhere, usually. So we'll see what we can do with it. I haven't given up on it yet. I think maybe it's time to get back into it, even though it's been 6 years since the last time we messed with it. So let's look at some of the notes that Wells Gardner mentions for a chirper. So last night when I was working on this, the monitor would completely collapse. Of course, now it won't do it since I'm trying to film it collapsing. Maybe if I slap the cabinet, it'll do it. I thought I saw it do it that before. It's like, it's right on the borderline, people. Come on. Yep. That's a cool game.
Reload. Handgun. Machine gun.
Wait till I get back up. Well, it's actually working pretty good right now, but you saw the snapping and everything. What in the world is... Oh, that was my boy, I guess. Okay, so it's working kind of good right now, but you saw the snapping and the jumping, and so I'm still going to try to fix another one because I don't think it's going to last. The thing, like I said last night, it kept turning on. It's the type of stuff on these monitors that just drives you crazy. I mean, intermittent problems are just nuts. You might have something and it works fine for months, and then you sell it and somebody gets it and the problem comes back. So you can't really do that because I didn't fix it knowingly. Like, it was messed up last night. You could turn it off and back on and it would come up for 10 seconds and then it'd do it again. And what it'll do is it'll just completely collapse. When it does, that board, it's losing the high voltage, but it's still got the B plus and it's still got the plus 12. So I don't know what voltage they're using to turn off the high voltage, but anyway, I've messed with that one a lot. So we're working on this one now. So this is what I was talking about. So Wells Gardner, if you go to wellsgardner.com, they have a support section that has a bunch of schematics and stuff. And this is their D9200 troubleshooting notes. And so, again, this one's chirping, it says. We're going to try it. And it won't boot up. Well, what I'm doing is I'm going through checking everything that I can to see if I can find something that's screwed up. So I noticed that I was looking through this area because it looked like Q413 had been replaced. So I checked Q413, it was fine. R462, it was fine. R424, it was fine. IC404 had been replaced. So I must have been on this trek before. R415 and Q418 were all checked fine. Now, with that said, that's horizontal scan. That's not really the same. That kind of seems to me as if it had horizontal collapse, which is a different issue, which would be aligned vertically because it won't deflect horizontally. So I think that's what they're going after here. So I don't know if we had that issue as well, and I fixed it at some point, or somebody else did. So just looking at their list, what would ours be doing if it's chirping? How are they describing that? Menu appears, pin cushion, no blue, no green, no red, no on-screen display. That's a specific thing about the ability to change it, the settings. No 12 volts. I don't know about that. No B+. That might be our problem. I don't know about that. If it's going into shutdown, it's probably got B+. 220 with no 110. Well, we don't have 220. Shutdown. So that could be it. IC401, IC805, and IC806. So we can look at that. No brightness. That's not it. Low contrast. That's not it. Horizontal linearity. That's not it. No horizontal scan. All of this tests fine. No signal message. Well, apparently we're not getting any message. It just chirps. Distorted video. What does that mean? Could that be what's going on with the other one? No vertical scan. That's not it. No video. That's different than no raster. So no raster means that there is high voltage, and if you turn up the brightness, you can see the screen in the background. No video just means it's not passing the video signal through onto the screen. So I kind of think we have a no raster situation, that's actually what's going on with it. So it's either no raster or shutdown. So we're going to look in those areas. So I started going through this. Q401 tests fine. Q425 tests fine. And then I get to IC401, IC403, and the flyback. So IC403 is this big processor EEPROM type thing, right? I'm not going to swap that. And by the way, there are different versions of that depending on the board, I believe. I think, or maybe it's that one. Anyway, I don't really want to go there. So I'm going to skip. Well, no, I'm going to do IC401 first because that's what they say. And then we'll go back to IC403. I mean, I guess it's next. It says that these are written in order of what the problem could be. And then ultimately it could be the flyback, I guess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap IC401 while I have it out. We haven't tried it in the tube again. So we're trusting our 6-year-old note, saying that it's chirping. So I'd like to just try one extra thing while I've got it while I've got it out. So I'm going to go ahead and swap IC401 if I can find one. So I have removed it from this board. It has a weird mark on it. I wonder if that's some kind of stress-related heat thing where it's telling us that chips burn up. Sometimes you'll see the chips will have some kind of problem going on them if they're bad. I mean, it'll have like physical stuff going on. It could just be that's just a printing thing or something, but you see there's something on there. Could that be where something arced over it and fried the chip? I don't know. Alright, so it is a UC3842AN. I have no clue what that is, but I'm going to see if I've got another one. Okay, so here on our desk we have a bunch of components. And I looked around and I don't have any 3842s. Now, we have different levels to this stuff, okay? So the stuff up here, most of it is stuff that we've ordered. So we had a gentleman actually send us a bunch of 7400 series stuff a while back, and we've got it all pretty much sorted out in there. You know, all labeled and stuff. I've had people complain too, Matt, that they're in the plastic. That's going to zap them.
Nah, that plastic's fine.
Okay, so
BPA.
yeah, we were talking about electrostatic discharge, and I was telling Matt that everything's cool because I was wearing
He was laying on the ground licking the carpet. Yeah, it was yeah.
Okay, so most of this is stuff we've ordered. So like what'll happen is, now of course the 7400 series, you need most of that. But what'll happen is we'll run into something like, for instance, this 3842. So here's the one I pulled out. We were just looking at. I'll run into something like that. And so I'll order some, and instead of ordering one, it's not too much more to order 10, depending on what it is. And I'll order extra ones, and then I'll put them in one of these drawers. And the next time we need one, we'll have it. These are resistors and caps, and this is a bunch of pinball parts, and we got stuff everywhere. This is a bunch of monitor repair stuff, so it's a lot of capacitors, and it's a lot of the specific chips that monitors use. But most of the monitors we work on are the older, like 19-inch stuff, or a little bit of the 25-inch stuff. But mostly it's Electro Home G07, Wells Gardner 4600, 4900, Wells Gardner 7000. That's most of the stuff we work on. On the bigger stuff, Wells Gardner 7000, sometimes Neotech, and then every once in a while we'll get something like one of these D9200s. Oh, we do a bunch of Wells Gardner 7400, 7500, U2000, U5000, which if you don't know about those, it's a series of 25, and I think they're mainly 25-inch monitors that were in stuff like Cruisin' USA and that era of games. So we mainly work on older stuff. Well, these D9200s, they're digital monitors, and they didn't come out until like 2003 or something like that. So it's a little different. We don't work on as many of those, like I've mentioned. So anyway, so I'm looking around for that part, and I don't have them in my stash up here. Apparently, I've never ordered any, but we have a fallback. Okay. So I have this big box of parts. I had a guy come by one time that used to work for one of the big distributors, and he was one of the monitor repair guys. And so he had test fixtures. He had a bunch of Pac-Man boards that he had been working on over the years or had saved and was using for parts. And he came by one day and he just wanted to know if we wanted all of his stuff. He didn't do it anymore. He's retired. And I guess he was just in a position where he hated to throw it away. And so we were like, hell yeah, we'd love to have it. And then not ironically, but coincidentally, the same guy, I think it's the same guy, had already given a bunch of stuff to another guy. And so that guy kind of got out of the monitor repair business and did the same thing. He brought us a bunch of his stuff and was like, hey, I got this stuff from so-and-so. And I think it was the same guy. So anyway, this is one of the local guys that worked at the huge distributor near here, who fixed tons of monitors for years and years and years, brought us all his extra stuff. So it was kind of all mixed up and how he had it and, all in his things. And so it's just like, he was a monitor guru. So it's like this. So this is just like a strange little Zener diode. Right? Or these are some inductors or something. Or I think those might have been mine actually. NTE 2302, and he's written SK9422 on it. What does that go to? I don't know, but one of these days we might run into something that needs it. And it was just all stuff like this. Some of the stuff was like little baggies with a bunch of parts from a specific monitor where he had been working through some monitor and had put a bunch of parts in one bag. So anyway, it goes on and on and on. SK9131, tons of stuff. NTE 2302, I guess that was the same one or a similar one that we just looked to. Yeah, it's the same one. And in part of the box is all of these extra chips and stuff. Like, see this kind of looks like 7000 stuff to me, K7000. Who knows? That's out of something. And I was talking to Matt about how the ESD is a nightmare to some people, but to us around here, it's not quite as big of a deal because we don't have a lot of static in the air because in the Carolinas it's very humid, so it's just not dry enough usually for there to be static. And he was saying, well, just a little static can screw it up too. Well, that's all true. But this is how it came to us, and this is how the guy kept it. So maybe some of it works, maybe some of it doesn't. So every time I need something, I go look in this box. This, I think, is one of the chips. So it says 086. Okay, that's a Wells Gardner part number. 365002, version 1.16. Yeah. So that's probably that chip off of another one of these D9200s that the guy removed at some point. So there's all kinds of stuff in there. So I'm digging through and I'm trying to find, I hope you find this interesting. I know we haven't got much fixed yet. This is a 3842. So I'm trying to find a 3842. I have no clue if this is going to fix anything, but we're just going to try swapping in another one. And so I found this little board. And on this board is a 3842. I think this is off of a Neotech. I believe. So there's one. So I kept looking. And I found another board. And this one has some weird little pot wired on it. So he's up to some kind of tricks. And yeah, so there's another one. And I found another one. And another one. And yet another one. Which leads me to believe, Matt looked up the chip and it's something, it's a switch mode power supply controller. Which, if the power supply is not starting up, maybe that's the problem. Found them. Okay, so then I finally found it. Just loosen the bottom of the box. Bam! Just what we needed. Oh, but one of the legs was bent, but that's all right. So then I found another one. Oh, slightly different part number, but yeah, there's another one. So apparently this guy needed these because he sure had a whole bunch of them. So I just dug out all of these. These are all the chips that I need. They were all out of the bottom of that box. So what I'm going to do is, now that I've rescued them from this pit, I'm going to make a tag and put them in one of our trays so that I can find it a little easier next time. And that took me about maybe 30 minutes to dig all that out of there. And then the next time we need something, I guess I'll go back into the box and look for whatever the next thing is that we need. So I'm going to go ahead and put one of those in a socket, put it in the board, and then we're going to hook it up to that extra tube we've got and just see if it comes up and it's still clicking or what the deal is. I want to get a little better description than chirping or whatever it said. Did it say chirping? Chirping. That's what I said. I mean, that's what Joe said. In 2019. Okay, so we'll put that in and hook it up and see if we can get some power on it. All right, folks, so don't do it yet, Matt. Don't do it. We're not ready. Okay, so we have the chassis back in the tube. I had to make up a little power cord for it. We're not going to test it in the game. By the way, the game is still freaking running. It's been running for 3 hours now. The reason we're trying to fix this is to put in the game, and the game won't break now. Unbelievable. I might have to go break it on purpose. So anyway, Matt's going to help us out here. Now, what are the odds that we fixed it with that one little chip, Matt? What do you think?
Let's see. Since Joey already fixed it, I'd say 30%.
I'm going to say 10%. I don't think there's any way in hell we fixed it because I just didn't do nothing. I tested a bunch of stuff. Nothing was bad. And the stuff I was testing, I could tell that I had already swapped some of it. So I've already been down this road before. Now, this chip I had not changed. But I don't even know if we're in the right area, So, now, I'm going to have you plug it in, Matt. But whenever this thing doesn't come up, I'm going to start screaming, unplug it, unplug it. Unplug it quick. It'll burn the damn building down, okay? Okay. Now, if there is a big, loud arcing sound,
Unplug it.
unplug it. If you can't unplug it because you're frozen, I'll come kick you and knock you over. I've got rubber soled shoes on. Here we can, let me see where I can get a good, I'll come this way real hard and knock you into that wall, and I think that'll get you. Okay. All right, so we'll try it. Now, if I start saying unplug it, unplug it. If you see smoke and fire, go ahead and unplug it. But what's probably going to happen is it's either going to come on or it's going to come up and start going cheep, 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 which is really going to make me angry. I might kick you anyway just because of that. All right, go ahead, Matt.
All right. Oh,
No, ain't that some crap? You hear it?
I hear it.
Yeah, it's dead. Sure seems like maybe it's the flyback.
Has to be something high voltage to make that racket.
Yeah, so whenever it does that, it's basically over and over again trying to boot up but won't. So there's some kind of short somewhere, some kind of something going on. Okay, well now we have a better understanding of what chirping means. Okay, you can go ahead and unplug it. And I'm not too mad. I guess I'll leave you alone. Okay, so obviously that one is not cooperating. I've marked it. We're going to back burner it for a minute. This is the one that was up and running in the machine, but it just jumps every once in a while and snaps. Well, we replaced all the caps in it except for one. I tried a different flyback and it had nothing to do with it. This cap right here is the original cap. We haven't replaced it. And the reason for that is because it's a little bit higher voltage than we had. So I ordered some of those so that we'd have them in stock. So I'm going to look up and see what that cap does. And then we're going to replace it with the correct one and see where that gets us. So let me see if I can ID that capacitor. We'll look at it on the schematics. Okay, so this is it. C466. It's saying it's a 470 25 volt. But the one in there is much higher than that. It's on a negative 8.2 volt line. So in other words, I probably could have used what I had. But I didn't look at the schematic to tell for sure. Usually whatever I pull out, I put the same thing back in or even higher. But maybe someone has already done that, and so, or maybe the factory just decided that, you know, they got a deal on 470 microfarad, 63 volts or whatever it is. So we'll look that up. Okay, so it's on the negative 8.2 volt line, which is right off the flyback. It's one of the windings on the flyback. Let's see what they're doing with that voltage. Okay, so the negative 8.2 volts is used on the vertical deflection circuit. So, I don't know. I mean, it could be that you would think that it... I don't know why it would snap, though. I guess if the capacitor was compromised, there may be something where the voltage builds up and then leaks out all of a sudden or something, and that's the snapping sound you're hearing. I don't know, but okay, so I'm going to swap it. We'll look at the old one just to see, make sure that it looks like it's original. And we'll put a new one in there, and then we'll try it. I think what I'll do, though, is I'll try it. Well, I hate putting too many variables in it. But I think what I'll do, while I have it out, I have that other tube. I think I'll put it in the other tube. And then if it still snaps, then we'll know that it has nothing to do with that cap and it's not the tube. If it's fine now, we'll take it back out of that tube and put it in the tube in the game and see if it wants to act right. My prediction is that it does not want to act right. But I try not to be negative. So I'm sure, there's a big possibility this is going to fix it. I'd say it's a 10% possibility that this is going to fix it. And then there's another 10% possibility that it has something to do with the yoke. I doubt it. It's hardly ever the yoke or the tube. But we might have a 20% chance that this actually does something. We got to try it. We're trying to eliminate variables here so we know for sure. And if that doesn't fix it, I'll tag that one and then we'll grab another one off the shelf and try to fix it. And we'll keep working through them until we figure one of them out. All right, so we were able to replace it. I don't know if we showed the jumpers on this thing, but we had a cracked board back here. Replace it. Here's the original cap. And it is original. See this white stuff on it? That's glue that they put on there at the factory. Since it's such a tall cap, they don't want it like bouncing around in shipment. So they put a little glue to glue it to the board. So that's usually how you can tell if it's been replaced or not. I guess we could test it, but I don't know that it would, I don't know. We're just going to swap it. We've swapped pretty much all the other ones. I would think it has to be something in the high voltage area or on the yoke or on the flyback. So we've replaced the flyback. We've replaced all the caps. I guess it could be one of the Mylar caps. It's not electrolytic. But this is the last electrolytic. Ordered my new ones. Okay, so we'll try it, like I said, on this other tube and see if that gives us anything different. And we'll also try it without a signal hooked up, where it I think it just comes up and says no signal. And we'll see if it'll sit like that for a while. So maybe if we can determine that it's only a problem when the CGA signal is actually hooked up to it, then that'll narrow it down. Did you see her jump? So close. If it only did it once when it first came on, it'd be fine, but sometimes it will just completely go dark. Sometimes it will do it every few minutes. It's one of those really annoying problems where it's hard to fix because you can't tell what the issue is. If I show it to you from the side, you can see it better. If I show it from the front, the scan rate, the camera refresh rate screws with the refresh rate of the monitor. Okay, so this tube and this yoke is good. This is actually the third tube and yoke, by the way. All the lines you're seeing are not actually in the image. It just looks like that. I don't know. I mean, that seems pretty good there. If it stayed like that, it would be just fine. Maybe I move it out into the front room and hook the video to it to see how it acts with a video signal. That one little snap we saw right at the beginning isn't all that significant if it only does it when the monitor first comes on. The yoke's a little crooked on this tube. It's all loose and everything. So let's see what happens when the signal comes in. What in the hell is that? Yeah, so it's not happy at all. I don't know, I think that leans to something to do with the you know, the part that creates the resolution. It seems worse though now than it did before. So what the hell is that? Who knows? These D9200s are just junk, man. They are absolute junk. They should have never made a monitor so damn complex where it tries to do everything. They should have made a CGA monitor, a VGA monitor, and an EGA monitor. The moment they made them digital meant they made them trash. They were fucking disposable after that. That's just what it comes down to. All right, I'm going to get another chassis and start working on that. All right, chassis number 3. I think we have about 6 of them. This video might get long. I want to predict the end of the video is we don't fix any of these, but we get a little farther on them. Maybe I'll learn something. I didn't write this. Or hell, maybe I did. I usually sign it if I wrote it. So let me see if there's any clue that I didn't do this. That's how I make my E's. Oh, that's not how I make my R's. I didn't write this. I don't do it like that, folks. I do it like, here, I'll show you. I do it like this. Two lines. But these heathens, they do it with one line. Look at that. That's a one line R, bigger than hell. They did some crap like this. Ah, I can't even imagine doing it like that. So I didn't write that. Oh, they didn't spell retrace either. Well, yeah, they did, kind of. The A's just kind of messed up. This might be Joey's handwriting, though. Let's see. Didn't he write on something here the other day? He wrote some numbers down on something. Let's see if any of that tells us. Nope, I don't see anything. I might have thrown that away. Anyway, maybe Joey wrote this. I don't know. It says golden T, retrace lines, can't adjust brightness, tube is good. Okay. So it looks very complete. Now, from what I understand, there are two versions of the D9200. There's also a D9400, and there are different sizes of 9200. So there's a 27, a 33. There may even be another one. I don't know. But one of them is made in Korea, and one of them is made in Malaysia or something like that. So yeah, so this type of stuff makes you wonder. So that looks like glue. Right, so that looks like glue. Well, yeah, it must be, because there's glue on those. That's obviously glue. Okay, cool. So brightness, can't adjust the brightness. There's retrace lines. The tube is good. So that usually means that the flyback is turned way up. And he's saying that you can't turn it down. So we have our handy dandy cheat sheet here. Let's see if it says anything like that. No raster. In the described situation, we would have raster, video, vertical scan, distorted video, no signal message, no horizontal scan, horizontal linearity, low contrast, no brightness, shutdown, 220 VAC with no 110 VAC, no B+, no 12 volts, no on-screen display, no red, no green, no blue, pin cushion, menu appears. So our issue is not on there. Alright, the no brightness would be Q408. So maybe we look in that section, and if Q408, maybe if it's shorted one way, you get no brightness, and if it's shorted the other way, you get lots of brightness. Well, maybe that. What do you think about that? I think that makes sense. Let's look at the schematics. All right, so here is Q408. I don't know why they say that has anything to do with the brightness, but, you know, they made the thing, so they know more about it than I do. Q408. So you've got the 170 volt coming in here. You've got this line, the negative 170 volt, driving the thing, I guess. And then whenever it's turned on, it causes this to flow through. I don't know. Where is that coming from? So we got this here coming up here, going over how. What is the purpose of it? I guess the purpose of it is to create the 170 volt signal from the negative 170 volt. I don't know how that little trick works, but I know someone's going to explain it to me down below. Let me just say ahead of time, I'm not going to follow. I'm not ready to learn how that works right now. So the 170 volt is created by this transistor. Now, you will notice that this says brightness right here, but it doesn't actually connect to any of that. It has nothing to do with any of that. So they're saying Q408, which has to do with creating the positive 170 volt. Nope, I've got that wrong. the 170 volts is created in the power supply. So that's, see the little tag pointing it that way? So they're just applying it there. So they've got 170 volts here. I don't know, folks. Whatever. That's what they're saying. I'm just saying there's not much in that area there that seems to have anything to do with the brightness. That's all I'm saying. But I do see the brightness here. So we'll check that, though. I see the brightness here that is directly tied to Q410. And then they've got Q410 drawn with no collector. What the hell? What is that all about? But they have it tied to this line. Well, this line here is the 12-volt line that runs the IC that does most of the stuff in the game. Yeah, I just don't understand how it works. It's digital, you know? It's just a completely different beast. It's just a completely different thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, no, look. Negative 8.2, it's pointing that way. So they're drawing those in the direction that the voltage is sourced from. All right, so we just need to look in this area. We'll look at Q408. We'll look at Q410 and Q411 while we're at it. We'll check these resistors that are around it and these couple diodes and stuff. And we'll go from there. We'll see if this 4.7 microfarad 400 volt capacitor has any problems going on. That's one of the issues with these is it literally could be any of the caps. So you're kind of chasing your tail if you don't do a full freaking cap kit on them. So we're kind of trying to jump around and avoid doing what might have to be done if the caps haven't been changed before. All right, so let me look at that area though and just see if I can see anything that's fried. You know, like if we do find that Q408 is screwed up, you know, it could very well be that 423 is shorted or something that causes a problem. All right, so let me poke around and see if I can figure anything out. I figured I'd just show you the reason it's so complex. This is a Neotech 2515, which is actually a dual resolution monitor. So this is, but it's not digital. It's a older analog monitor. So it could do low res and medium res, which means you could use it in almost every arcade game. You didn't really need VGA on most of the games. Of course, now I'm sure you would need VGA on anything new they made, but they could make it where it's just VGA, right? And now they're all LEDs, so it's completely different anyway. But anyway, this is the Neotech power supply area of the main board. So that corresponds to kind of this area of the D9200. So it's significantly more complicated, in my opinion. Right. This is the Neotech main board. And again, it's dual res, right? So here's video input. This is probably vertical deflection, maybe. This is horizontal deflection. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's all horizontal. That's probably just a, you know, it does deflection and it handles some of the video signals, it looks like. Processing, whatever. It's a LA7850 and a LA7836. But anyway, this is the entire main board, except for the power supply part. Here's the flyback. So that's everything, okay? So that basically corresponds to all of this. So it's significantly more complicated. And then on this you also have this other board. That's the little stand-up one on the chassis. And this is the input signal board. So all of this on a Neotech, which is a dual res, not just a single res, is done by all of this. So it's 2 or 3 times more complex. And then finally, you've got the neck board for the Neotech. which has a processor on it, or a processing chip, I get whatever you want to call it, LM1203, which Wells used on some of their stuff. They may even use on this D9200. This is the neck board on the 2515 Neotech, and this is the neck board on the D9200. Let's see what the processing chip they use on it. It's a KA2500. All right, so that's our neck board, and that's the Neotech neck board. So it's a little bit more complicated than the Neotech neck board. The neck board, though, is not the problem. You can fix it. It does have some issues with resistors and things like that burn up on it, but that's common on all the monitors' neck boards. So it's not really the problem. It's just all of this crap on the board, because it has the on-screen display, it has to save digital information. It's basically running a program while the thing is turned on. Big pain in the ass. All right, folks, so Joey has taken that D9200, the third one that we're messing with here, and did a complete cap kit on it. Now, some of these, remember I said there were two kind, one in Malaysia and one in Korea. The connectors are different, so we're going to have to swap this in if everything's cool. This is the one that was on the original one. It uses the same tube, but the connectors, and there's just a bunch of stuff different. But we think we might have it. Keep your fingers crossed. We think we might have it. So this is the third one that had the brightness problem. That wasn't Joey's handwriting. We got that off of an operator who had removed it from a game, according to Joey. So let's see if this is better. That seems bigger, doesn't it? I don't think that was as big before. Maybe we're all out of adjustment or something. I hear the disc spinning. Oh yeah, it's up. It's just real dim. We'll have to mess with that. We should be able to see it better here in a second. Yep, it's up. It says the internal battery O2 is dead. Well, if it ain't one thing, it's another. But that's up in CGA, and it's not like, whoa, if I don't trip over my pinball, it's not loud like the other one was. So that was all nonsense. It's probably a more of a clue to what the problem was on the other one too. It has something to do with those transistors that switch it into frequency. If you look in the back corner back there, see that little stand-up silver heat sink there that there's a transistor on? In that area is where the transistors are that help it decide what resolution it's in. So he's got it hooked in on the CGA side, which it's a PS2, so that's what it's outputting. Okay, so let me see if I can adjust the monitor to look any better. But I think we might finally have a decent one. Thank God. All right, folks, so we've got it adjusted pretty well. I've got the contrast turned up pretty high. The gun games need pretty good contrast to work properly. But I've got the black nice and black, so I've got the brightness down enough, and I've got the contrast up enough. I went ahead and rejuvenated the tube. We don't usually do that because we found in the past that after you do that, it will wear out. Like it will only look good for a little while. So you might rejuvenate it. It looks great like this right now. What the hell was that? But a week from now it'll be dim. So we got to keep our eye on it and see if it holds. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But we're still working through it, and we're not going to sell it yet. So we'll see if the tube stays looking good. Now the gun, like I said, it needs pretty good brightness, pretty good contrast to actually work properly. On the camera here, it's showing like a big band through the screen. That's just the camera catching it. So let me put it in gameplay. You can tell me what you think. So it looks really good. All right, so let's turn the lights back on. And you can see what you think with the lights on. But I think we got it. Good old D9200s. Actually, it looks nice and bright. Like I said, there's a weird thing going on with the camera. But it's very bright. It's as bright as basically an LCD screen would be, which wouldn't work with the gun, by the way. The top half of it being dim like that is not a thing. It just looks like that because of the camera. Whatever, you get the point. So it's a nice bright monitor now. This is bright. It's almost impossible to film these CRTs. We've tried 5 different cameras. I know you can sync it up to the sync if you get the right camera and all of that, or supposedly you can. Whatever. We're not going to spend thousands of dollars on a camera just to show you a CRT perfect. But it looks really good here in person, and we're going to roll with that for a little while. It's one of those things where you kind of need to use the D9200 if you can, because that's the monitor that's in it, that fits in it very well, that the exposed bezel fits on well and all of that. So we'd like to keep it a D9200 if we could, but they're not the world's greatest monitors, in my opinion. Tell me what you think about your experience with D9200s down below, and we will see you on the next video. We're going to do another video about this Time Crisis 3. We may run it first, actually, and then run this afterwards. But either way, if you didn't see that video, look around for it. There is a twin pair of videos we've been filming at the same time here. We'll see you on the next one.